Hello friends! So I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I didn't record a video really this week. I plan to record romanticizing a day in fall or romanticizing fall or something like that, and I just took a nap. To be 100% honest, I took a nap, and I think my body was just telling me, hey, a lot's going on, a lot is happening, and it's okay to just calm down and just take a moment for yourself. And so I actually thought that would be my video for today. So I just woke up from a nap, not gonna lie, just woke up from a nap, threw some makeup on, put some dry shampoo in my hair, and I'm now in front of the camera feeling not my 100%, and that's okay. Because it's impossible to feel 100% all the time. It's impossible to have the energy to do everything all the time. And during this season, I love that kind of, because it gives you a little bit of a reason to slow down, enjoy the smaller things, and not feel like you're always on the rush. And I like summer. I think this year I've really experienced summer. That's a weird way to say it, but I tried to enjoy summer to the fullest. But I felt very busy, and I felt like I always had to have plans on the weekend or have plans in the evenings after I've worked the whole day. It was just a lot of go, go, go. And I feel like during the fall, you can have more of a chance to just have the weekend off and just relax, or finish work and say, hey, I'm just gonna take an evening for myself. I'm going to make myself a hot bath, or I'm gonna sit on the sofa and read all night, or I'm gonna play a video game. And I think that's okay. I think fall gives you the reason to be able to do that. And that's one of the reasons I really like this season, is because it just gives me the reason to be like, oh, it's okay to take a nap after work. So I thought today would be a little bit slower. I'm not romanticizing the season. Instead, I'm showing the honest truth of the season, I guess. So I figured we could talk about a couple books that I've picked up in the last couple weeks, just so we can get a couple more ideas for the season. So these aren't books I have to read this season, but I've told myself, hey, I can buy a book in here or there just to kind of feel a little bit more lighter, give myself something I look forward to. And I hope you guys have things for yourself as well. Find something that it's like a little gift for yourself. I used to love buying myself flowers. If I had like a really hard day at work, I would go to Pike Place Market in Seattle and just get myself a bouquet of flowers, because it was just telling myself, hey, I love you, it's okay, and you deserve pretty things. And so now instead of doing flowers lately, I've been doing books. So if I have like a really stressful day, I'll be like, I'm gonna get myself a book, or I'm gonna make myself a cookie. I've made a cookie, actually that's something I can share today. I did a cookie recipe and I froze. It's just a regular chocolate chip cookie recipe. You can find any of them online pretty much. And you can ball them up into pre-ball cookies, pop in the freezer, and then when you just want one cookie, you can pop it in the oven. It's not the most energy efficient, I do have to say, but say like you're preheating the oven for French fries or for something else you're eating for dinner. As you're preheating the oven, pop a cookie in there and it'll cook while you wait to cook your dinner. So that's something I also do to kind of show myself a little love, or just doing activities I really like. So one of the ones that have been really popular for me this year that I've picked up and I just have loved a lot is crocheting. And so I'll show a little. I've made two more things. Well, I've finished one thing and I've made another thing since my last video. So I figured I'd show that a little bit later. But let's go ahead and talk about books. Maybe I'll pop a cookie in the oven and then I'll show you my crocheted items, and we'll just have a little bit of a relaxing chat and have a relaxing fall evening. It's getting a little bit darker. It's only, I think, 7 o'clock, so it's quite dark already. So we'll go ahead and have a quick video before it gets too dark and I have to grab my candlestick. So let's go ahead and grab some books and I'll meet you guys back here. Also, I will be doing the broomstick next week, so if you're interested in my foraging, I'll go ahead and add some clips at the end of this video. But let's go ahead and get back to our books for now. Okay, so I've grabbed a few books. I haven't grabbed all of them, I've just grabbed a couple. 3 of them are actually books we've picked up at our secondhand store. It's kind of like a Goodwill you would find in the US. It just has clothes, books, electronics, furniture, everything and anything. But we go in there for me to find like props for my baking photography, but we also go in there to find books because sometimes they have like a small little English selection, which is actually really nice if you think about it. Sometimes I'm kind of sad that I can't find all the books I would like to buy at a shop or a mom and pop shop or something like that, but it's kind of fun to go to the secondhand shop because they have a lot of weird books and books that I wouldn't normally find or wouldn't normally take a second thought about unless I was getting them for free or something like that. But these books are just kind of odd and weird. And I found 3 of them last time. And one of them is called Fantasy Gone Wrong. It's just short stories. From the very back of it says, everyone knows that the hero should triumph, dragons should be slain, maidens should be rescued, and you should always look at advice for magical creatures warily. But what if things don't go according to plan? What kind of fantasy realms and challenges would you end up having to deal with? And so I thought that was cute, and it's just little short stories. It's 16 short stories, and yeah, I thought that was fun and different, and there's a little gnome being carried by 2 women on the front cover, which is kind of fun. And then my partner actually found this book for me. It's called Warriors. I just threw the book. It's called Warriors, and it's about 2 cats. I think it's actually a middle grade book, but it's really short, not very much text, and it's just about cats. I don't really know much more about it other than I was reading the back and it was about 2 cats called Tiger Claw and Thunder Claw. Oh no, it's Tiger Claw and Fireheart, and they are with the clan Thunder Clan. So that's a cat book for cat lovers. And the last one is Her Majesty's Wizard. I bought this one because of the cover. I thought the cover looked really cool, so yes, I do buy books based on covers sometimes. Now for some books that you probably do recognize and have heard of. The first one I'm currently reading is Kindred. This is one I've picked up recently, and I've read quite a bit of it in just a couple days, and it's really intense. Like I'm surprised how easy it is to read and how quick it is to read. I'm feeling like I can just pick it up and I'm reading 20 pages without even thinking about it. And I'm wanting to read more, which is really good. I love a book that makes me feel like I'm being pulled through, like a book is like leading me through it, which I feel is like Kindred or Legends and Lattes is a great example for me because I wanted to read that one constantly. It's a book that pulls me into the story and just keeps pulling me throughout it. And there's other types of books where I feel like I kind of have to not slug. I don't have to punch anything. I have to sludge my way through it, or I have to like lead myself. How would I explain that? I have to almost encourage myself to continue reading. And those are 2 way different types of books. There's a lot of books in between, but ones that pull me, and then the other ones are I have to pull myself. And this is one that's pulling me. I want to read this one. I want to sit down. I've been reading on the bus. I've been reading it on the train. I've been reading it while I'm walking. I would recommend not doing that all the time. But this one's been really good. I didn't tell you what it's about, but it's really good. It's about a young woman who ends up living in 1976, and she gets pulled back in time to 1815, and she's a young Black woman being pulled back to slave owner times, and it's pretty heart-wrenching, I would say, and raw. It's not an easy read in the sense of, I wouldn't say gruesome, but it's just very raw. It's very, you can feel how the character feels in this book. So if you haven't read Kindred, this is my first time reading it, and I highly recommend it. So Kindred, it's a good one. This one is about, I think I've talked about this one before, The Paper Palace. So The Paper Palace, I have heard it's a lot like where the crawdads sing. I haven't read this one, of course, so I don't know much about it other than what's written on the back. And the back just makes it sound like a mystery and kind of, it's a mystery. It's just a mystery. I like reading mysteries during the fall season because it's a perfect time to like cozy up and be like, ooh, who did it? Or who done it? So I don't know much about this one. I don't want to know much about this one yet because I want to read it and be kind of pulled into the story just like Kindred. But it's a mystery. I've heard it's a lot like Where the Crawdads Sing, so that may be a book that's interesting for you if you like that book. I liked Where the Crawdads Sing, so I thought that's why I would pick this one up. We have The Familiars. I just bought this one because it's by Stacey Halls. I really enjoyed Mrs. England by Stacey Halls, which was a mystery novel about a young woman. She is a nursemaid for children who live in the middle of nowhere, for a family, of course. The children live with a family. And I loved that book. I thought it was a 5-star. I really enjoyed reading it. So I picked up The Familiars just based on the fact that it's written by Stacey Halls. I don't know anything about this book other than it takes place in 1612. And it's about a 17-year-old married, pregnant for the 4th time. She's 17 and pregnant for the 4th time. Oh, it takes place during the witch trials. I think this is going to be a perfect book for October because October's my witchy month, and this is regarding the witch trials. So that sounds interesting, as I've already bought it. But honestly, I bought it because it's written by Stacey Halls, and I really enjoyed her writing style, so I thought I would pick up another one of hers. So this is actually a lot of collections of books that I have enjoyed, or authors I have enjoyed, or like books I've enjoyed. So that's those 2 books. Black Cake, I have heard a lot about. I heard this was a very good book. I honestly cannot remember what it's about, but I heard it was really well written and really intriguing, so I thought I would pick it up and read it. It's also on my 23 books in 2023, which I've only finished one of them so far, and that was Yellowface. So this is my second one for 23 books in 2023, and I don't got very much left, so I figured I would pick up at least a second book. And the last one I bought because of the cover and because it takes place in the Pacific Northwest, and that's Remarkably Bright Creatures. I thought this was so beautiful, and I love the Seattle Aquarium. There's an octopus that lives in the Seattle Aquarium, and it's so cute and so adorable. And there's also stories about the octopuses that lived in the Seattle Aquarium. So I like hearing the stories about them escaping. I don't know if any of them are true, but I think they're cute. And this one is the perspective of the octopus. So I thought that sounds adorable. I don't think the whole book is in the perspective of the octopus, but the very first sentence or the very first chapter, I believe, is. So I read the first chapter when I was in the bookstore because I've been trying to encourage myself to at least read the first 5 pages of a book to make sure I get drawn into it before I buy it, because I've bought a lot of books that I didn't very much enjoy. So I've been trying to encourage myself to read a little bit before I buy it, just to make sure I like how it sounds and I like the reading style. So that one I'm really excited to read. I don't know when I'm going to read it. It looks like a very spring book, but I might just cheat and just read it whenever I want to. Because why not? Sometimes we just want something that's a little bit springy in the months of fall. So I'm going to stop talking about books because it's starting to get a little bit darker. I'm going to show you my crocheted items, and then I figured we would have just a very chill rest of our day. Sounds really boring, but sometimes we just need a relaxing day. So my 2 pieces I finished. I talked about doing a sunflower in my last video. I finished the sunflower finally. So this is my little sunflower. I definitely did not do it perfect, but I love it. It was my first one, so it's going to be kind of funky and not gunky, just funky. But I definitely think it turned out okay. And the back of it has like a little bloop, which I don't think it's supposed to have, but it's a good handlebar when I want to, or handle when I want to hold it. And as I've mentioned multiple times, October is going to be my witchy month, so I figured I needed a witch's hat. And I thought, what better way to get a witch's hat that I love than make my own? But I'm going to be honest, I don't know how I feel about it. So you guys can tell me what you think. It's a bit baggy. So it's a baggy witch's hat. So you can tell me what you think. If it's good, or if I have to remake it, or if I just have to make a new one. My camera died. So One last thing, because I think my camera was saying, Melissa, you're just rambling on too much now. If you think I should remake the hat or make a new hat or just stick to the one I have and add little embellishments, put it in the comments below. I would love to hear your opinion. And now let's move on to making a cookie dough batter that we can pop in the freezer. So for this recipe, we're just going to be adding all of our dry ingredients into one bowl. The great thing about this cookie recipe and most chocolate chip cookie recipes is that they're really easy, really simple, so it doesn't take a lot of work. We're going to be adding our butter into a bowl and then mixing this until the butter is soft and fluffy, about 3 to 5 minutes. We're doing this to make sure the butter has a lot of air in it, so it's nice and fluffy and airy. We're going to add our sugar. So we have our white sugar and also our brown sugar. The brown sugar is going to add a nice deepness, like a nutty flavor to the cookies. We're going to mix this until it's nice and fluffy again and the sugar starts breaking down, so another 2 to 3 minutes. We're going to add our eggs, our vanilla extract, and our milk and oil, so any other wet ingredients we have left, mixing this until it's well combined. And then we're going to move over to our spatula. So we're going to grab ourselves a spatula. Make sure you're scraping down the sides of your bowl as you're making the cookie too. So after you're done with the butter, after you're done adding the sugar, after you're done adding the egg, it's going to make your cookies bake really evenly. We're going to add in our dry ingredients and mix it with a spatula until it's almost combined. Then add in our chocolate chips and continue mixing until we have a nice sticky, thick batter that's just full with chocolate chips. If you want the chocolate chips to melt more, I would use chocolate chunks, so more of like buying a baker's chocolate bar and chopping it up. And then I would use a cookie scoop or any type of scoop. It makes all your cookies even, or you can just roll them with your hands and then pop these in the freezer or bake them and get really flat cookies like this. I know that was a really quick cookie recipe, but I figured you can find any recipes online or in your cookbooks, and they're perfect for freezing, and you can just pop in the freezer and pop a cookie out whenever you're craving a cookie. But I figured we'll go ahead and run to the woods and start our foraging now. So this is our wooded area just around the corner from us. It's beautiful out here. A lot of the trees are still green. We still have a lot of really fresh and bright colors right now. And it's not quite yellow, but there are quite a few branches on the ground. So we thought to ourselves, we can either go and spend money, or we can wander into the woods and find ourselves some perfect sticks for the end of our broomsticks. So we went into the woods, I grabbed myself a basket, and I filled this basket completely full of all these different branches that I'm going to go ahead and use for the bottom of my broomstick. We also got to enjoy some beautiful old stumps covered in moss and spiderwebs, perfect for the fall season. But for the most part, we just wandered through the woods, enjoyed the beautiful scenery, and the goal was just to find a few things that we needed for the broomstick. So if you want to join, we're going to be making our broomstick next week. And yeah, so that's it for our video. I found all of my pieces in the woods, so this is me done with my adventuring, and I'm looking forward to you guys joining me on our adventure next week with our broomstick and all of our other fun activities. Until next time, you guys, ciao!